The development of character is the great business of life. Your ability to develop a reputation as a person of character and honor is the highest achievement of both social and business life. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear a word you say." The person you are today, your innermost character, is the sum total of all your choices and decisions in life up to this date. Each time you have chosen rightly and acted consistently with the very best that you know, you have strengthened your character and become a better person. The reverse is also true. Each time you have compromised, taken the easy way, or behaved in a manner inconsistent with what you knew to be right, you have weakened your character and softened your personality. There are a series of virtues or values that are usually possessed by a person of character. These are courage, compassion, generosity, persistence, and friendliness, among others. We'll talk about some of these in part 3 of this book. Coming before all these values, however, is the most important one of all when determining the depth and strength of your character: integrity. It is your level of integrity, living in complete truth with yourself and others, that demonstrates more than anything else the quality of your character. In a way, integrity is actually the value that guarantees all the other values. When your level of integrity is higher, you are more honest with yourself and more likely to live consistently with all the other values that you admire and respect. However, it takes tremendous self-discipline to become a person of character. It takes considerable willpower to always do the right thing in every situation, and it takes both self-discipline and willpower to resist the temptation to cut corners, to take the easy way, or to act for short-term advantage. All of life is a test to see what you are really made of deep down inside. It is only when you are under pressure, when you are forced to choose one way or another, to either live consistently with a value or to compromise it, that you demonstrate your true character. Emerson also said, "Guard your integrity as a sacred thing. Nothing at last is sacred except the integrity of your own mind." You are a choosing organism. You're constantly making choices, one way or the other. Every choice you make is a statement about your true values and priorities. At each moment, you choose what is more important or of higher value to you over what is less important or of lesser value. The only bulwark against temptation, the path of least resistance, and the expediency factor is character. The only way you can develop your full character is by exerting your willpower in every situation. When you're tempted to do what is easy and expedient rather than what is correct and necessary, the payoff for becoming a person of character, for exercising your willpower and self-discipline to live consistently with the very best that you know, is tremendous. When you choose the higher value over the lower, the more difficult over the easy, the right over the wrong, you feel good about yourself. Your self-esteem increases, you like and respect yourself more, and you have a greater sense of personal pride. In addition to feeling excellent about yourself when you behave with character, you also earn the respect and esteem of all the people around you. They will look up to you and admire you. Doors will be open for you, people will help you, you'll be paid more, promoted faster, and given even greater responsibilities. As you become a person of honor and character, opportunities will appear all around you. On the other hand, you can have all the intelligence, talent, and ability in the world, but if people do not trust you, you will never get ahead. People will not hire you, and if they do, they will fire you as soon as possible. Financial institutions will not lend you money because birds of a feather flock together. The only associates, never friends, you will ever have will be other people of questionable character. Furthermore, since the people you associate with have a major effect on your attitude and personality, you make or break your entire life with the quality of your character or the lack thereof. Aristotle wrote, "All advancement in society begins with the development of the character of the young. Begins with the learning and practice of values." This means that advancement in your life begins with the learning and practice of values. You learn values in one or all of the 3 ways: instruction, study, and practice. One of the chief roles of parenting is to teach children values. This requires patient instruction in explaining values to them over and over again as they are growing up. Once is never enough. The value and the importance of living by that value must be explained. Parents must not only give illustrations but also contrast the adherence to a value, especially that of telling the truth, with its opposite, that of lying or telling half-truths. Children are very susceptible to the lessons they receive from the important people in their lives as they're growing up. They accept what you say as their parent as a fact, as absolute truth. Everyone here is either a self-made millionaire or intends to become one in the future. Everybody loves the subject of becoming wealthy. Now, I'm going to give you 7 keys to becoming an outstanding leader in this industry and to becoming one of the highest paid individuals in our society. Becoming wealthy isn't complicated. To become a millionaire, you don't have to completely change yourself. Instead, you need to develop character beyond what 99% of people in the world possess. This includes developing qualities like honesty, discipline, building quality relationships, and having the willingness and ability to work, set priorities, and handle various challenges. Without these qualities, achieving wealth is nearly impossible. The first key is to dream big dreams. Nearly every successful person has cited a turning point in their life when they decided to pursue their dreams vigorously. It's about making a firm decision that you will become wealthy, that you will become a millionaire, and that you're willing to put in the hard work, long hours, and sacrifices required. The turning point is when you make the decision to commit fully to your goal. Now, let's discuss what I call the 7 C's. The first C is clarity. Clarity is crucial for success. I've consulted for numerous corporations, both large and small, and I've found that problems often arise when there's a lack of clarity about what the company is doing or how it's doing it. I've developed a program called the 2-Day MBA, which emphasizes the importance of clarity in various aspects of a business. It's essential to be clear about your product, your target customers, your competitive advantages, and your strategies for attracting and retaining customers. The second C is commitment. Success requires unwavering commitment to your goals. You must be willing to work diligently and persistently towards your objectives, no matter the obstacles or setbacks you encounter along the way. The third C is competence. To excel in your field and earn significant wealth, you must continuously strive to improve your skills and expertise. Identify the essential skills needed for success in your industry and dedicate yourself to mastering them. The fourth C is concentration. Focus single-mindedly on your most important tasks and avoid distractions. Concentrate your efforts on high-priority activities that align with your goals. The fifth C is constraints. Identify and address the constraints that are limiting your progress towards your goals. Focus on eliminating or overcoming these obstacles to accelerate your success. The sixth C is continuous learning and development. Dedicate yourself to lifelong learning and personal development. Invest time and effort into expanding your knowledge and skills to stay ahead in your field. The seventh C is courage. Have the courage to take risks, face challenges, and pursue your goals relentlessly. Be willing to step out of your comfort zone and embrace uncertainty in pursuit of your dreams. In summary, by embodying these 7 C's, clarity, commitment, competence, concentration, constraints, continuous learning and development, and courage, you can unlock your potential for success and achieve your goals of becoming wealthy. It's not an easy journey, but with dedication and perseverance, you can turn your dreams into reality. Here's the corrected version. You'll see, this is why it's so important to have absolute clarity regarding your goals in each area of your life. It's essential for you to be motivated to perform at your very best. An important point to note regarding the ABC formula is that your behaviors are not guaranteed to achieve the consequences you desire. However, every behavior or action you engage in will generate some kind of consequence. One of the most critical aspects of understanding motivation in behavior is realizing that both actions and inactions have consequences. What you do, as well as what you fail to do, will have consequences in your future. Sometimes, these consequences can be dramatic and long-lasting. A beneficial exercise for success is to write a description of the type of person you like to be and the kind of life you like to live. Your most powerful faculty is your ability to think. The more accurately you can think about who you are, what you want to accomplish, and how to accomplish it, the more effective and successful you'll be. The 8th law of success is the law of subconscious activity, which has several applications. The first part of this law states that whatever thought or idea mixed with emotion you hold in your conscious mind will be accepted as a command by your subconscious mind. This means that whatever thought, idea, or goal you can hold in your mind on a continuing basis, you can achieve because your subconscious mind will work to organize all your thoughts and actions to bring it into reality. The second part of the law of subconscious activity is that, once you give it the proper commands, your subconscious mind will trigger your reticular cortex and its function, the reticular activating system. Your reticular cortex alerts you to events and circumstances around you that are consistent with your dominant desires or concerns. For example, if you decide you want to buy a red sports car, this desire will signal to your reticular cortex that red sports cars are now of paramount importance to you. From that moment on, you would notice red sports cars everywhere. Your reticular cortex will cause you to be extremely sensitive to opportunities around you that would help you achieve your goals. The third part of the law of subconscious activity is that your subconscious mind controls your body language and tone of voice. Professor Moravian of the University of California at Santa Barbara concluded that 55% of the message you send when communicating with others is contained in your body language, 38% in your tone of voice, and only 7% in the actual words you use. Your body language and tone of voice are largely controlled by messages about yourself and your goals that you've set to your subconscious mind. For example, when you've had a success of any kind, you send a charge of emotional energy to your subconscious mind that tells it you're a winner. As a result, you walk, talk, act, and think like a winner. The ninth law of success is the law of expectations, often called the law of the self-fulfilling prophecy. It simply states that whatever you expect with confidence tends to materialize in your life. You get not what you want, but what you expect with the greatest intensity. For this reason, an attitude of positive self-expansion goes hand in hand with great success in every area of your life. The wonderful thing about the law of expectations is that you have the power to manufacture your own expectations. You can decide to expect only good things to happen to you. You can become convinced that the entire world is conspiring to do you good. The way you apply the law of expectations is by constantly looking for the good in every person in every situation. When you have a temporary setback, you can look for the valuable lesson it might contain. This kind of affirmation causes you to approach everything you do with a more positive, open, and optimistic attitude. The most powerful of all expectations are the expectations you have of yourself. You should approach everything you do with an attitude of calm confidence. The 10th law of success, which applies to many other areas of life, is called the law of concentration. It states that whatever you concentrate on and think about repeatedly with emotion tends to become more and more a part of your inner and outer life. Some of the most important work in psychology shows that if you dwell upon qualities you wish to develop, like courage, sincerity, and persistence, you tend to actually build those qualities brick by brick into your character and personality. The law of success, the law of habit, states that virtually everything you do is automatic and unthinking. You are largely a creature of habit. Good habits are hard to form but easy to live with, while bad habits are easy to form but hard to live with. One of the hardest things to change are bad habits which are counterproductive to the goals you want to achieve. Therefore, it's important to analyze your habits carefully and decide whether they are moving you towards or away from your goals. The 12th law of success is the law of attraction. It says that you are a living magnet and that you inevitably attract into your life the people, events, and circumstances that harmonize with your dominant thoughts. The law of attraction has been written about for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. It's often referred to as the law of sympathetic resonance. It explains that if you have a clear goal or idea, you will attract people and resources that can help you realize that goal. Another illustration of the law of attraction is its opposite, the law of repulsion. When you become a particular kind of person because of the way you change your thinking, you will find yourself attracted to people who are similar to you and repelled by those who aren't. The 13th law of success is the law of choice, which says that you are always free to choose the content of your conscious mind. Your thoughts control your reality, and since no one else can think for you, the thoughts you choose to harbor determine everything that happens in your life. The 14th law of success is the law of optimism, which states that a positive mental attitude goes hand in hand with success and happiness in virtually every dimension of life. The more optimistic you are, the happier you'll be, and the more things you'll be willing to attempt. The 15th law of success, the law of change, says simply that change is inevitable. Everything is changing, and all progress requires change. Your life can only get better when you get better. If you don't take advantage of change, you will end up being the victim of change. In conclusion, the laws of success are based on the foundation principle that in order to succeed, you must first decide what success means to you. You can then apply these laws to your definition of success to bring it more rapidly into your reality. Welcome, seekers of greatness. Today, we embark on a journey of self-discovery and transformation fueled by the power of habits. These habits have the potential to propel you beyond the limits of your imagination. In a world brimming with possibilities, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the vastness of our dreams and aspirations. But what if I told you that there are specific habits you can cultivate to not only reach but surpass your wildest dreams? Imagine a life where every action you take, every decision you make, leads you closer to your most audacious goals. A life where success is not just a distant dream, but a tangible reality that exceeds even your own expectations. That, my friends, is the promise of the habits we'll explore today. From the moment you wake up to the final moments before you drift off to sleep, these habits will serve as your guiding lights, illuminating the path to greatness. They will empower you to break free from the shackles of mediocrity and embrace the extraordinary potential that lies within you. As we journey together, I invite you to open your mind and heart to the infinite possibilities that await. Let go of any doubts or limitations that have held you back in the past, and dare to imagine a future where success knows no bounds. So, are you ready to embark on this transformative journey? Are you ready to discover the habits that will take you beyond what you ever imagined possible? If so, let's dive in and unlock the secrets to a life of unparalleled success, fulfillment, and joy. Now, let's shift our focus to a speech by Brian Tracy that will change your life. Relax, take notes, and watch this entire video so you don't miss anything that could have a big impact on your life. In life, you decide to be responsible or irresponsible. Being irresponsible is for the top 10% of people. These are leaders, and you can be a leader without followers, without a team. The leader is a person who behaves like a leader, who assumes total responsibility. The more responsibility you accept, the more control you have, not just physical and financial control, but emotional control. The more control you have, the greater freedom you have. If you were to ask people why they want to start their own business, why they want a lot of money, if you ask them again and again, the final question they will always give you is to be free. We all want to be free. No human being has ever said, "I have too much freedom, please take it away." There are politicians who believe that voting members of the public have too much freedom and believe they have been elected to take away that freedom through taxes and regulations. But there is never a person who says, "I have too much freedom, please tax my income, please regulate and limit my behavior so that I do things you believe are good for me." Nobody would ever say that. So, the more responsibility you accept, the more control you have, and the more freedom you have. The more positive emotions you have, there is a direct one-to-one link between responsibility and control, freedom, and positive emotions. At the lower end of the spectrum, irresponsibility leads to a lack of control, feeling out of control, lack of freedom, feeling controlled by other people, and negative emotions. Now, let's talk about negative emotions. The only thing standing between you and a fabulous life are negative emotions. Fear and negative emotions. If you don't have negative emotions, since nature abhors a vacuum, what will your mind be filled with? It will be filled with positive emotions. Love, happiness, joy, and exhilaration. The key is to eliminate negative emotions, which is the key to unlocking the power of your subconscious and superconscious mind. So, how do we do it? We starve the roots to death. There are two essential factors that maintain negative emotions: justification and identification. Justification is when you say, "I'm entitled to this negative emotion because of what this person did, said, or told me." Identification is taking things personally. If you can't take things personally, you can't attach any negativity to them. So, stop justifying and creating reasons why you're entitled to negative emotions, and stop identifying with your negative emotions. Become non-judgmental and disidentify. Bonding is non-bonding. Don't emotionally engage in anything, as emotional engagement shuts off your higher creative mental powers. The measure of how successful you are as a person is how calm you can remain when there's turbulence in the world around you. So, stay calm, detach, get the facts, and don't get involved. Cut the trunk of the tree of negative emotions, which is blame. Blame is at the root of 99% of negative emotions. If we remove blame, we cut the tree, and all negative emotions stop. Replace the thought of blame with the affirmation, "I am responsible." It is impossible to be negative and accept responsibility at the same time. So, say, "I am responsible," and think of all the reasons why you are responsible in any negative situation. As you do that, negativity begins to disappear, and you stop being negative about the situation or the other person. As we come to the end of our journey, let us reflect on the profound impact of the habits and insights we've explored today. Armed with the knowledge and wisdom gained, we stand ready to seize the opportunities that await us. Let us carry with us the unwavering belief that we are capable of achieving greatness. May these habits continue to guide us towards a future filled with success, fulfillment, and joy. Our journey does not end here. It is merely the beginning of a new chapter filled with endless possibilities. As we part ways, I urge you to continue cultivating these habits with diligence and determination. Let them serve as beacons of light, guiding you towards your dreams with unwavering certainty. Thank you for joining me on this extraordinary journey. May your path be filled with abundance, joy, and endless success as you pursue your dreams with passion and purpose. Music. If you're in sales, as I was for many years, you often don't have a say in the product or service you're selling. You must trust that your company has developed a quality offering and priced it competitively. However, the real breakthrough in 21st century sales is recognizing that all sales are relationship-driven. People don't just purchase a product or service. They invest in how they feel about the person selling it. This means that building trust and credibility with the prospect is paramount. In sales and in life, credibility is paramount. Your trustworthiness and believability determine how much confidence others have in dealing with you. You'll find that your most significant relationships, whether personal or professional, are built on trust. I've worked on multi-million-dollar deals with individuals I've never met in person because we've established a solid foundation of trust over the phone or through email. This trust enables us to enter agreements, make commitments, and invest resources confidently. Building trust with customers involves asking insightful questions and actively listening to their responses. Columbia University's research reveals that the average salesperson only spends around 90 minutes per day actively engaged in sales activities. Many waste time warming up or resting, making only a couple of calls daily. To succeed, focus on building relationships and maximizing the time spent interacting with qualified prospects. They're prepping, making excuses, sipping coffee, skimming newspapers, checking emails, reading spam, and so forth, but they only put in 90 minutes of work a day. This study began in 1928, and it's been updated regularly since. The most recent one, around 2008, still showed the average salesperson working just 90 minutes daily. Consequently, all sales incomes can be boiled down to that 90-minute figure. In essence, there are only 3 activities that directly yield your desired hourly rate: prospecting, presenting, and closing the sale. These entail finding new leads, engaging with them, and persuading them to buy. From this moment on, employ every ounce of your intellect and ingenuity in time management, goal setting, and efficiency to double your face time with customers. Sales are directly proportional to the time spent with qualified prospects. On average, salespeople spend 90 minutes face-to-face with customers daily, give or take half an hour. If you aim to double your income, dedicate 180 minutes to 3 hours each day to customer interactions. By the law of probability, this should double your earnings. I've encountered numerous success stories where individuals went from a dismal 1 sale out of 10 attempts to a staggering 9 out of 10. With proper sales techniques, they turned rejection into success. One participant of mine, after learning professional sales methods, skyrocketed from modest sales to 9 out of 10 conversions. His income surged, allowing him to upgrade from a small house to a spacious one. Remember, you can't worsen your sales performance by practicing. You can only improve it by learning from rejections and refining your approach. Your task now is to accumulate no's by being courteous, friendly, and charming, as you already are. The more rejections you gather, the closer you are to success. Now, let's distinguish between marketing and sales. Marketing is about attracting interested prospects, whereas sales is about converting that interest into purchases. Without the former, you can't execute the latter effectively. Reflecting on a concept from an audio program last year, I realized that 90% of business success hinges on having an outstanding product. Take iconic products like the iPod or iPhone. They consistently elicit praise from users. Therefore, the ultimate measure of your business's success is how often customers rave about your product or service. For instance, we stumbled upon an exceptional Indian restaurant last night. From the moment we stepped in, everything was exemplary. The ambiance, the food, the service. We left exclaiming, "This is a great restaurant." Achieving such reactions from customers guarantees your business's future success. Remember, no company starts with a product that triggers such positive responses. It's a journey of continuous improvement until you reach that level. Here's the corrected passage. You may satisfy some people, but now you just improve it. You just continue to improve it until you hit that critical point where people start saying, "Jesus, this is a great product." Then you know you've hit it. Every product has to trigger that, and nothing starts off that way. You keep improving them, improve your service, improve your people, improve the product. If you can do that, this is the one idea that I have generated more than $1 million in new revenues by taking that concept, expanding it like a horizon, and teaching hundreds of business owners how to install this greatness system within their business at every level, for planning, organizing, marketing, selling, customer service, visit manager development, and so on. So now companies will walk out of my process and literally double the size of their business in 30 days. And when the economy is in a recession, their businesses are booming. People say, why? Well, because they've got great products, they've got great people. You see what I mean? Yeah, it's a very one concept like that, but you never know where you're going to find a concept like that. So you've got to be like a radar scanning the horizon, looking for those kinds of reading, listening, talking, asking questions. And every so often, like the lightning strike in the cartoon, you get this lightning strike. One idea can save you 5 or 10 years of hard work. Sales is the ultimate default job in our society. Nobody goes for it into sales. We fall back into sales when nothing else is working. It's like driving a car and backing up and hitting something. Boom! You get out to see what it is successful than others. Why is this? I looked around me and I saw people, and I was 23, 24, typically younger than me, doing better than me, because some of them were dumber. And they weren't any smarter than me, because some of them were dumber. One of the things I say is, nothing will make you madder than to see somebody who's dumber than you, who's doing better than you is doing better than you. And you say, how can this idiot be doing so well? I began asking this question in selling. I began asking, why is it that some salespeople are more successful than others? And I did something that very few people ever do. I found out later, because I went to the best salespeople and I said, how come you're so successful? And they told me what they were doing, and I did it, and I made more sales. So people said, how come you're making so many sales? So I told them, and they did it, and their sales went up. And when I got into business, I asked managers, how do you manage in a business like this? How do you organize it? And they told me, and they told me, and I did it. So one of the greatest success principles that you'll ever find is to learn from the experts. Learn from the experts. Learn from the people who are already demonstrating the results that you want to get. Read their books. Listen to their programs. Attend their courses. Learn from them, and ask them, and they will always tell you. You can save yourself years of hard work by simply learning from people who've already learned it themselves. However, the 80-20 rule applies. 20% of people who get into sales realize that this is a great opportunity, that if you sell really well, you can earn more than a doctor or a lawyer or even a politician. You can make a wonderful living in selling, and you can fulfill all of your dreams in the Western world. 5% of millionaires are salespeople who have sold all their lives for another company, but they sold a lot, and they earned a lot, and they invested the money carefully. So it's possible for you to achieve all your dreams in this field if you become good in selling. The key to success in sales, because you're on your own so much of the time, is to hold your own feet to the fire. Prepare thoroughly for every meeting. Go on Google. Do whatever you need to do to find out everything you can about the prospect before you meet them for the first time. Remember, the first impression is lasting, and a customer today can't tell if you're prepared or not within 30 seconds. If you walk in and you say, "Thank you very much for your time. I had no idea your company had been here for 303 years. You have 270 people in 12 branches, and your best-selling product is this and that, and it won one quality award last year. How do you know all this stuff? I went to your website and I looked it up. And what do people put on their website? They put the things that they're most proud of. They put the things that they're most proud of. That is, we call this the bragging page. They put things on their bragging page. So you go to their website and you'll learn the things that they are most proud of as a company. And if you feed it back to them and say, look at your website. Wow, that's pretty good material. I see, gee, we can't even get our own people to look at our website, much less outside people. And you know what? Your credibility goes straight up, and their fears and skepticism and negativity go straight down. There's an inverse relationship between the two. As your credibility goes up, their fear goes down. Now, they start off with a high level of fear and skepticism. But as you begin to build credibility by doing your homework and then by asking good questions to fill in the answers and listening closely to the answers, they start thinking, I'm dealing with a professional. What is the purpose of your business? Now, most people respond by saying the purpose of a business is to make a profit. However, that's not quite correct. The real purpose of your business, or any business, is to create and keep a customer. If you can create and keep customers in sufficient numbers, in a cost-efficient way, the result will be a profit. The very first thing that you have to do when you think of any new business idea is, where am I going to get a customer? How am I going to get someone to pay for my product or service? So what is the most important measure of business success? The answer is customer satisfaction. It means that you create a customer and you keep the customer and you keep the customer. Because the customer is so happy with what you did for them. Sometimes I ask people, which is the most important sale? And they say, oh, it's the first sale. I say, not so quick. It's not the first sale, it's the second sale. Why? Because you can get the first sale through discounting, through deceit, through all kinds of techniques and methods. But it's the second sale where the customer tells you, you satisfied me so much, you delivered on your promises so much, that I am back here to buy again. So the next question is, what is the key measure of customer satisfaction? And the answer is repeat business. Repeat business is where the customer buys and buys again and brings their friends. So the key measure of business success is the customer buys from you rather than from someone else, buys from you again, and brings their friends. And this brings us to the ultimate question, which determines your success or failure in business. The question is this, and you ask this on a regular basis of your customers. Based on your experience with us at this time, would you recommend us to others? Would you tell your friends, your associates, members of your family to buy from us based on the way that we've treated you, on a scale of 1 to 10? And here's what we've discovered. People who give you a grade like 9 or 10 will represent 85% of your repeat business and 85% of your referrals to other people. What you have to do from now on is ask your customers in every way possible, how did we do? Did you like us? Did we take good care of you? How can we do it better? On a scale of 1 to 10, how was our service? And if the customer says, well, it was 6 or 7 or 8, what you do is you say, what would we have to do next time to earn a 10 from you? And then orient everything you do in your business to get 10s as many times as possible from as many customers as possible, and that will guarantee your success. Here's a key way for you to achieve all your sales goals, and it's simple. It's very important to break your sales goals down into the activities necessary to achieve them. You see, you can't control the sales themselves because they can go sideways for 1,000 reasons, but you can control the activities which yield or lead inevitably to those sales by the law of probabilities. So the more precise you are about activities, the more likely it is that you will accomplish your sales and your income goals. So here's an exercise for you to complete in order to break down your goals into the precise activities you have to do to achieve each one of them. Start off with your sales volume and your income goal. How much do you want to earn? How much do you want to sell? How many sales will you have to make in order to achieve that? Work out what you earn per sale and divide that into your earnings goal. For example, if you want to make $75,000 this year at $500 per sale, you'll have to make 100 sales. Now, figure out the number of calls you'll have to make. You say, well, I'll have to call on roughly 15 people before I make a sale. So, therefore, I'll have to make 1,500 calls. Now, here's an important point. Keep track of your call activity every day so that you can measure how well you're doing. So, how many presentations will you need to make to close 100 sales? Work it out. Maybe you'll have to make 3 presentations for each sale. So, you say, well, I need 300 presentations to make 100 presentations to make 100 sales. Write it down. What about the number of proposals? Well, one of these prospects out of 3 actually buys, so the other 2 need proposals. So, I need 200 proposals. So, I need 200 proposals. And lastly, daily activities. How many people will I have to call on every day in order to achieve my goals, daily, weekly, and monthly? If you break it down like that, Then the first thing you do Monday morning at 8 o'clock is you start working on your numbers. Your job is to hit your numbers, and if you hit your numbers every single day, sure as God made little green apples, you're going to hit your numbers every week and every month. You'll have high weeks and low weeks, and high months and low months, but the average overall is you'll hit your targets again and again. See, the big mistake we make is we don't get our numbers on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we really pour it on Thursday and Friday. And Friday, we finally work at it for a couple of hours, and that's it. And we say, I'll work on it twice as hard next week, and we get further and further behind.